Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use, for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Edward Caban taking one for the team. T, if you are not a Medium member, you can read this blog for free here. Mr. Caban knows the disciplinary process well. Over his 30 years on the force, he has twice been found by the CCRB to have engaged in misconduct. CCRB Mission Statement. The New York City Civilian Complaint Review Board, CCRB, is an independent agency. It is empowered to receive, investigate, mediate, hear, make findings, and recommend action on complaints against New York City police officers alleging the use of excessive or unnecessary force, abuse of authority, discourtesy, or the use of offensive language. The board's investigative staff, composed entirely of civilian employees, conducts investigations in an impartial fashion. The board forwards its findings to the police commissioner. In fulfillment of its mission, the board has pledged to encourage members of the community to file complaints when they feel they have been victims of police misconduct, to encourage all parties involved in a complaint to come forward and present evidence, to investigate each allegation thoroughly and impartially, to make objective determinations on the merits of each case, to recommend disciplinary actions that are fair and appropriate if and when investigative findings show that misconduct occurred, to respect the rights of the civilians and officers, to engage in community outreach to educate the public about the agency, and to respond to concerns relevant to the agency's mandate, to report relevant issues and policy matters to the police commissioner, to offer civilians and officers the opportunity to mediate their complaints in order to promote understanding between officers and the communities they serve. The New York CCRB's authority is derived from the NYC Home Rule Charter, Chapter 18A, Section 440. In Mr. Caban wrongfully arrested a year-old man whose name was redacted from CCRB records. Stopped and questioned the man because he acted suspicious in a drug-prone location, he wrote in his patrol memo book. Caban, then a police captain, was accused of threatening a man who'd refused to show his ID during a questionable stop and frisk. After viewing the man's ID, Caban allegedly told him he was being arrested for not living in the neighborhood, according to the CCRB's report. The cops slapped the man with a refusal to comply with orders to disperse charges that was dismissed a few months later. The CCRB ruled the other complaints filed for the incident, that Caban threatened the victim with a reference to a case in which police sodomized a man with a broom, and that the then sergeant hit him while he was handcuffed, were unfounded. The CCRB's investigation found that Caban had wrongly issued a summons against the man. The other substantiated complaint was that the Civilian Complaint Review Board recommended in 1997 that he should be disciplined after he refused to tell a woman the names of two officers that she'd wanted to file a complaint against. Two officers who threatened to up and arrest the anonymous woman. He received a minor command discipline for the incident. Caban was exonerated of one of the other 10 claims. The CCRB ruled the remaining 9 were either unfounded or could not be investigated because the complainant could not be reached. Edward Caban and his brother, James Caban, now face serious misconduct allegations that saw police admitting that his cell phone was confiscated by the feds and accusations his sibling was provided with police protection. He and his brother became involved in a nightclub scandal in which James Caban allegedly offered to do favors for owners, such as nixing legal issues such as underage drinking. A Brooklyn bar owner, Shamal Kelly, claims extortion from James Caban and other mayoral staff. The state liquor authority said Kelly's bar had no charges filed related to Juice and More LLC, but had dozens of noise complaints too. To ease the pressure from the strict noise ordinance statutes, Mr. Kelly contacted Ray Martin, the community relations director at the mayor's office, who suggested that he should close the bar unless he paid $2,500 up front to James Caban to have the police interference cease. Mr. Kelly shows his phone records to NBC on September 12, 2024. Phone calls and text messages reveal the underhanded cash for special treatment deal. It seems Mr. Kelly would rather relocate his business than to continue to support corruption in local government. City Hall released a statement to NBC. Meanwhile, James Caban is under investigation for reportedly selling consulting services to nightclubs, under the guise the services would protect the nightclubs from police scrutiny. That investigation led to his brother Edward Caban resigning as the city's police commissioner Thursday. Edward Caban, as of this release, is not the target of the investigation, his attorneys have said. Shamal Kelly, as of this release, has met with DOI investigators and the FBI about corruption allegations from parties criticizing Mr. Caban. Disclaimer.